broke as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are conducting a great staff purge as more members of the Sussex Survivors Club speak out. This is as a financial crisis hits the fake Duke and Duchess. So it must be galling for them, right? To see Catherine, the Princess of Wales, in her splendour alongside Prince William at the state visit for President Emannuel Macron at Windsor Castle today. And that, folks, is how and why you do royalty. Because what Meghan and Harry are proving is that they are unable to even do celebrity. This Page 6 article is utterly, utterly mortifying for the Montecito Moaners because it's all about the money. We're going to get analysis from our Royal Mastermind and Prince Harry's biographer Angela Levin to reveal the inside story on what is really going on in just one moment. But first, let me take you through this reporting from the New York Post's well-connected British editor-at-large, Sarah Nathan, who writes, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have cut ties with their comms team as they focus on saving cash, Page 6 is told. Just last month, it was revealed the renegade royals had parted ways with 6 more employees, including their 2 in-house reps. Now we're told the tally of staff the couple has lost or let go since they quit as working royals back in 2020 is up to 25, with some departures not yet publicised. And we will come to this in just a moment, but of course Angela Levin has been reporting for some time that the number is actually far, far higher than that. Sarah Nathan goes on. The Sussex's Netflix deal, reported to be worth up to $100 million, though sources say it's actually closer to $20 million, is also up this year. The source, it's the same old story. They cycle through staff as quickly as normal people cycle through toilet paper. Milk lasts longer than their employees. As Page 6 revealed, they splashed out $14.65 million on their home after moving to the US. It's now believed to be worth around $27 million. Deeds show they took out a $9.5 million mortgage to be paid back plus interest by the year 2050, indicating they put down a $5 million deposit. They also have to pay a huge yearly property tax of $288,000. They also fit the bill for their staff and communications alongside their personal office, the Archewell Foundation, production, as well as employees at their estate in Montecito. We're told the Sussexes also have to pay for a portion of their foreign tours, which have seen them visit Nigeria and Colombia. Harry and Markle have now lost hard-working Kyle Boulier, their Los Angeles-based Deputy Press Secretary, and Charlie Gibson, who had been serving as the couple's European Communications Director. They also lost Disha Tank, Archewell's Director of Communications, and Leanne Cashin, formerly Head of Operations at Archewell. However, Netflix is now prioritising first-look deals rather than overall exclusive contracts, which means they could have to re-sign for significantly less money than their current deal. This could prove a headache for the couple, who have a heap of expenses from travelling to an annual security bill believed to be around $2 million. Markle's social media manager and a personal assistant who have not been named have also departed. But Meredith remains the couple's chief communications officer, that poor woman, after coming on board in February after their last PR boss, Ashley Hansen, left to start up her own consultancy firm. Insiders told us the couple were infuriated and upset by an unflattering Vanity Fair cover story in January, which claimed Markle would be cold and withholding to staffers at the drop of a dime if something went poorly. It was really, really awful, very painful, an unnamed staff member who worked with Markle on media projects alleged, as another said she would throw employees to the wolves. It was unfair. What could their staff truly do about it, said a source in the know of the VF story. The sources were anonymous and things could not be refuted. The Sussexes were also unhappy with a Hollywood Reporter expose last September, which claimed that everyone's terrified of Meghan regarding her staff. A source added, she belittles people, she doesn't take advice, they're both poor decision makers, they change their minds frequently. Harry is a very, very charming person, no airs at all, but he's very much an enabler, and she's just terrible. Multiple sources told the New York Post that Harry was furious at the story and desperate to protect his wife, pushing his staff to work on an Us Weekly cover story, quoting former staffers saying they had loved working with the pair. Alongside this, Harry and Markle's former communications secretary, Jason Knauf, famously filed an official complaint in 2018 accusing the mom of two of bullying her staff at Buckingham Palace. So look, Harry can be as annoyed about the Vanity Fair article as he wants, but this is a complete catastrophe. So many people have been treated like dirt. So many people are angry with these two. But what's most mortifying for them about this story is that it shows that the whole Megxit project has been a disaster. These two are broke ass. They're relying on Princess Diana's money. They're relying on the Queen Mother's money. And these cuts are going to keep coming. Because let me tell you, this is a case of diminishing returns until the divorce. And at that point, there's a big payday for Meghan to obviously throw her husband under the bus. But God knows when that will happen. Now, on top of all of this, Kinsey Schofield, the US-based royal commentator, has been revealing new details from members of the Sussex Survivors Club in a bombshell interview on Sky News Australia with Rita Panahi. Watch. Big news! Outspoken is now available as a podcast too. So please do subscribe wherever you get yours, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and make sure you rate and review. I'll take 5 stars, if you may.
See, there seems to be trouble in paradise. The grifters, our favourites, Windsor and Ginger, Harry and Meghan, have reportedly cut household staff to try and save money.
I mean, labor is expensive, but I do have a source that is a proud member of the Sussex Survivors Club who told me she's still experiencing issues after leaving Meghan's employment. And the way she treated me, she says, of Meghan, can only be described as dehumanizing. She also said, you only hear about the professional positions, but the household staff departures are much higher. It actually became quite comical because during a certain period, it felt like every week there was something new. Someone new who left. So these numbers we've been reporting for years aren't accurate at all. The turnover is horrible.
Wow, I would love to know what the whole turnover rate is when you count the staff who aren't in senior positions. This source you have, this person who is still traumatised by, I shouldn't laugh, but by the time with Meghan, what was her main issue? What did she do to dehumanise her?
Well, I mean, one of the things that she pointed out was that Meghan was incredibly ugly when Harry wasn't around. But as soon as Harry was around, and another point they made was the mask slipped after about 6 weeks, that Meghan was like a fairy, like so happy and just full of joy and sweetness. But after about 6 weeks, the mask slipped and they felt like the real Meghan came out to play. And that Meghan typically is ugly when Harry's not around. But if Harry catches Meghan being nasty, he does step in and defend the staff.
Angela Levin, a whole load of fascinating new information here. But the first thing I do just have to point out is actually you should just be watching Outspoken to get all of this news first, because you reported here many months ago now that the number of staff that had departed Harry and Meghan was far higher than what the mainstream media are reporting. So it looks like a lot of people are catching up to you on that front. But what's so interesting about this new purge, Angela, is it seems like it's all to do with money. They are living beyond their means.
Yeah, well, I've said this for a very long time,
Yes, you have.
years actually, because that's buying the house they bought. I've always said, why do they need 16 bathrooms? Everybody's laughed, but actually that's true. Why did they need it? They were living well beyond what they could do right from the start, because Meghan had this sort of ridiculous dream that she was going to be, a worldwide, wonderful person that would absolutely have masses and masses of money. But you see what she chooses for her dresses, what she wears on her hands, all the jewelry is extremely expensive. There's been a new huge diamond for a little finger, which she was wearing on a photograph not too long ago. And, you know, it's just so much. She just is never satisfied. As you know, I've always said she's one of these women who is never ever satisfied, and she's always going for more. And actually, they've tried to get other houses, haven't they, that were even more expensive, but they decided they would stay where they are because they love it so much. That's not why. It's just the fact that nobody particularly wants to buy their house, which they have tried to sell, and they can't afford anything else. She wants to go to the most expensive places where she lives, and she can't. I mean, she's got, you know, if you think of all the things that she's got now, masses of garden where she can make masses of vegetables and fruit, and she jokes about selling some of these off by the children, and but she has got loads of space there, chicken house and swimming pool, and somewhere where you can see a film, somewhere where you can do gym. There's so many things, and there's other houses, little houses that people come and stay in. So it's vast. Cut it down. I mean, I just feel that people can't expect to live in a much more expensive place than they can manage.
Well, they can't afford it. They can't afford it because they thought this income was going to be permanent. They didn't realize that they actually had to succeed. They couldn't act like effing grifters, as Spotify put it, and keep getting that money coming in. But in terms of the staff specifically, Angela, can we look at these two key issues? So firstly, you have always said that the number of departees is much, much higher than the mainstream media has reported. And that's because you're taking into account household staff, people presumably like cleaners and security guards who we would never know the names of.
Yes, that's right. They've cut some of those down, but that's been very important that they don't mention the names because they count for nothing. You know, that is the only people that really count for, and those are the ones we know, which are already sort of 50, 25, 26, easily sort of 40. Because they are just cleaning up. And I believe that she's had lots of nannies, but some people say that it's the same nanny who's still there. But she must get a load of money, but she's well worth it because Meghan's hardly there. It is awful. I just want to tell you one thing that their lawyer says, and they've denied that she's a bully, which is the one thing that nobody can stand of.
Yeah, but we haven't seen the report, have we?
No, we haven't. But the lawyer says, told the BBC, what bullying means is improperly using power repeatedly to deliberately hurt someone physically and emotionally. The Duchess would never do that. Well, in my opinion, it's a ridiculous statement to make because we have information from well-known people who said they couldn't stand the fact that she was such a monster and screaming. And here we have that when Harry's not there, she can let go with an absolute massive scream, but she's very superior as well. You know, there was a couple of men who live locally and said that she won't say anything to anyone. She just looks as if she's too important. So this importance and arrogance has made her be absolutely hideous with ordinary people. And that's why she's not getting any work anywhere, because nobody wants to work with someone like that.
But first, this episode of Outspoken is brought to you by Manscaped, the global leader in men's lifestyle and grooming. And I'm very excited to say the heat has officially arrived overseas. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in the white hot special edition colorway from Manscaped, now available across the UK, Europe, and Australia too. Now, this is the same trimmer trusted by millions of men down below, now with a clean white and gold finish that looks just as smooth as it shaves. And it isn't just a pretty face. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is built to handle your most sensitive areas with care, helping reduce the risk of nicks, cuts, and irritation where it matters most. So whether you're cleaning things up for a date, a trip, or just to feel a bit more put together, the White Hot trimmer makes below the waist grooming a whole lot smoother, literally. Join over 12 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use the code Outspoken for 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. And let me tell you, the ladies in the Outspoken audience would really do well as using this as a fail-safe gift for your boyfriend, your husband, your son, your brother, your hard-to-buy-for best mate, because the blades are designed to glide over the skin with less tug and pull, helping the bloke in your life avoid the usual redness or irritation that comes with low-quality groomers. It's simple, it's effective, it doesn't require a whole routine. Just pick it up, clean up, and move on. Whether you're using it in the shower, on the glow, or standing over the sink before a night out, the White Hot 5.0 Ultra fits into your day without getting in the way. Plus, the white and gold design actually looks so good, I don't think you'd want to be hiding this away in the bottom drawer, right? White Hot looks, smooth results. The White Hot 5.0 Ultra brings the heat without cooking your skin. It's sleek, easy to use, and way less terrifying than whatever you were using before. Use the code Outspoken for 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. That's 15% off with the code Outspoken at manscaped.com. But now, back to the show. No, they absolutely don't, for very good reason, because, of course, tying yourself to Meghan Markle now is a great reputational risk. And so that's another thing that is going to stop a whole load of deals. But there's something that I find fascinating, Angela, in the briefing to Page 6, which has clearly come from some people close to Prince Harry who are trying to turn this story around. And he's moaning about how terrible these reports in Vanity Fair and The Hollywood Reporter are. But of course, he can't do anything about it. And I find that so fascinating because he had no problem, did he, when we were talking about the tabloids, the British tabloids, you know, the places I used to work, like The Sun and the News of the World and the Daily Mail. He would very happily hit out at us because he knows that there's this perception, especially amongst the elites, that the tabloids will just publish things that are untrue, which actually is usually not the case, to be completely honest. Certainly in my experience, everything that I published was backed up and proved to be true, from the Queen hating Meghan Markle to Megxit, of course, which they announced within 12 hours of me first revealing the story to the world. But what I do find so funny, Angela, is that he knows he would just look like a joke if he came out now and said, oh, it's not the tabloids that are no longer publishing the truth. It's Vanity Fair. It's Hollywood Reporter. I mean, it's like, these are soft publications that were so up the Sussex's arse for such a long time. And the reason, Angela, that they are reporting this now is because you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it when you're talking about 40 plus people on both sides of the Atlantic claiming bullying. Some of those people revealing that they have had mental health issues, that they have had physical health issues, that they've been in rehab as a result of her behavior. You cannot keep denying this. And of course, one of the reasons, Angela, that these publications have been prepared to go down this path is because Harry himself didn't realize that in Spare, he was effectively admitting it, because he was talking about the fact that he would walk into the office at Kensington Palace. Do you remember this? And there would be staff sobbing at their desks. Well, is that happening now that Meghan Markle is out of the picture? Has it ever happened with William and Catherine? No, of course it hasn't, because there was one common denominator in every single one of these staffing issues, and her name is Meghan Markle.
Yeah. Well, I've always had believed as well, that Meghan has pushed him to take all these things of bullying, and also that the press are no good and they want loads of money to go to court to do this. And now they've found themselves, if they work together on this, over 1 million or 2 million or 3 million, because the amount of money that he has to pay now, his lawyers and everything, is absolutely enormous. But I think that Meghan wanted him to do that. One thing was give him something to do, which is very cynical and nasty. And the other thing was to raise a whole load of money and beat the press, because she couldn't stand the British press. She didn't stand it. She couldn't stand it before she came here, and that was because she's so snooty. But I think, when you've got huge amounts to pay like that, you do think twice about what's going on. And apparently, other things that people are not interested in her anymore. It's just that she's messed up everything. She says one thing, does another, tries to be nice, but then she can't be. And Netflix is not paying them the vast amount that they were originally going to pay, so that's another cut off. So there are all these things that actually go down the drain for them, and that's it. They can't afford to keep the staff, but they also can't stand them, because Meghan feels she knows much better than anyone. And I can see that she's somebody who's meticulous. If someone leaves a tiny little bit of dust in a corner, she would scream at them. It's a wonderful opportunity to do that and show how important you are. Some people who like that, that's how they like to keep people in touch. And I think that all this is all entangled, and it's now looking absolutely shocking.
And Angela, what do you make of Kinsey Schofield's reporting that some members of the Sussex Survivors Squad, Sussex Survivors Club, sorry, we've got to get that separate. There's the Sussex Squad, which are the internet trolls, and there's the Sussex Survivors Club, which are all the former staff members suffering from these mental health issues. And Angela, what do you make of her reporting that these staff members are saying that very often Meghan would change when she was around Prince Harry? So the worst of the bullying would take place when he is not in sight. Do you think that's correct?
I don't know about that, but I think that if he doesn't want you to scream at people, she would do it when he wasn't there. But I think she screams at him anyway, and I don't think she cares what he thinks about something like that. What I do know is that a lot of the people have suffered from all sorts of things, and some have not actually recovered emotionally or psychologically since she did that screaming, because she was so revolting. And especially in the very, very early hours of the morning, she would scream and say what she wanted done. If you're woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody can get at you much harder than if they see you when you're rushing around trying to do lots of different things. I think she was like that. One of those occasions was in Australia, when she pretended that she made banana cake, and she didn't make it. She gave lots of staff the menu to do, and she kept sort of waking them up and saying, "This one you've done now is vile. It's awful. Do another one," and they got absolutely very, very upset and very stressed. And they have a lot of work to do when you're on a very important outwards day, that you can't actually make it everything right exactly. But she would actually go mad about things like that. And I think she did regularly wake up people with a shouting match. Wakes up, she sends an email, and if they don't get it very quickly, then she rings them and all that.
Yeah.
You see that she's not a nice human being, and the Queen didn't like her either, as we always thought, and have now firmly discovered that she's just not a nice person. There we are.
Angela, incredible scenes at Windsor Castle today. Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and we did hope that this would be the case, involved in the welcoming and the state visit of President Emmanuel Macron and his allegedly trans wife, Brigitte Macron. So there she is meeting Catherine, the Princess of Wales. And this was such a moment for Catherine wasn't it, Angela? Because, of course, she had to pull out of Royal Ascot a couple of weeks ago. There have been real concerns. The hope always was, and I mean, doesn't she look stunning, Angela? Doesn't she just look
It's
picture
ooh la la
perfect?
stuff, isn't it?
It
It's by
really is. Do you think she
Dio.
knows that she has to sort of put the style stakes high? You know, I'm not a fashion guy, Angela, but does she have to care more about the fashion stakes because it is a French state visit and they are so known for their style?
Yes, I think she did. She would want that they're coming from France. She would go to Dior and get something done for her. But she looks sensational in it. The hat, the jacket, and the long skirt that just bends, just looks gorgeous. And I'm so happy. And do you know what the president did? He actually took her hand and kissed it. So that shows you that it's a special sort of woman that you do that to. You just shake hands or something. But he kissed her hand because she looked so beautiful. That's my view. I mean, I like the green that Camilla's wearing too, but I just
I
think
think Camilla got a
Catherine.
little kiss on the hand too, didn't she, Angela?
No,
So,
I don't think she did.
oh, I thought she did. I thought we
Oh,
just.
did she? Oh, maybe I missed that. Okay, well, he did it for the ladies. Very nice. But
It's the
she
French
just,
way.
she just, yes, it was the French way.
As long as
And
it's not an actual French kiss.
oh dear, that's naughty. Yeah, but I think she just looked, with her pearls. She had the late Queen Elizabeth pearls around her neck and other pearls in her ears. And you think that you can't imagine that she's still going through very difficult days and trying to manage everything, her duty and her children and her husband and the country. And I think that it's just remarkable because if you see her today, you just wouldn't imagine that there was anything wrong. And she's been smiling and I thought she walked very quickly and she stood up quite a long time when they'd arrived. And she's just an amazing, amazing woman. But I just think, there's Meghan must be tearing at her teeth. She could never make it. What Catherine has got is something very, very special, and we all love it. And what Meghan's got is something really not nice, and we don't like that at all. And nothing's going to change it. She's never, wearing the same striped blouse that Catherine wore a few days ago, just a different colour. It doesn't get you anywhere, dear. Just stop it. If she tried to look like that, it wouldn't work, would it? It never does. But that, I just think, yeah, that's one. She wore it when she
But she
joined
saw
Catherine.
Catherine was wearing it though, didn't she? Or wearing a similar colour last
Yeah.
week, and then all of a sudden Meghan decides, oh yeah, I'm going to rummage through my wardrobe and bring that back out. It's like we see what you're doing. Angela, can I just ask about the significance of the fact that the state visit is at Windsor Castle today? Usually, I mean, I know there have been state visits at Windsor Castle before, but usually you would expect them to be at Buckingham Palace. But presumably because of these renovations that are going on at the palace, it's just
Yes.
not available for these big state occasions at the moment. Is that
Yes,
correct?
these are very important meetings that they're not can't have it now because they're very busy catching up with what they have to do, and you don't want drilling in the background, do you really? And I think it's much nicer in the countryside, and as long as they can do it, and maybe they thought because of Catherine they would leave it there. I don't know about that. I don't think so, but it's an option. And as long as they got through it, actually, and I just think I can't get over how gorgeous she looks, and I think that they should do anything possible for her. But if it's going to take another while, isn't it? Another over a year to finish off Buckingham Palace, and it's they've got to keep up to it with the paying out all the time.
Well, Angela, you say about the drilling, although actually I'm sure some people at Buckingham Palace would think maybe that would be a good idea for there to be very loud drilling because maybe it would mean we wouldn't hear all of the loud arguments between Emmanuel Macron and his apparently trans wife, that fisticuffs they had on the plane recently. You know, very interesting couple, aren't they? I'd love to be a fly on the wall at Windsor Castle tonight, put it that way. But if you do want first access to our Royal Uncancelled After Show, where we deliver the exclusives that the Royal Rota simply won't. I mean, as I said, Angela Levin reported on this show months and months ago about the staff turnover for the Sussexes being far higher than the MSM was ever reporting. Then please do sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. A monthly paid subscription gives you first access, live or on demand, to our Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, Monday to Friday. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.